We are going to review a couple of topics of mathematics in pendalaman materi. So yeah, I don't get a lot of data from your class, so I'm going to use the data from 9A. So these are the thing that we are going to discuss until you get your final test. Okay, couple of it I'm going to compress. So for example, like today we're going to learn about algebra until function because they are so related to each other, and also they are the basics of mathematics because they are the language of mathematics. So if you can master the language of mathematics, it's easier for you to understand the rest of the topic. Okay, so and then there's also 2D figures, circles, congruence, 3D figures, probability, statistics, sequence, and social arithmetic. Okay, yeah. For every pendalaman materi, for every session, you have the chance to get plus point. So the plus point, I'll send it later, okay, after the explanation. Then I'll give you time to do it. Just for today, I'm going to give you time to do that, and then you can continue that in the next pendalaman materi in the next session. I don't know if there will be any session next week, but yeah, the next session will be, we are going to continue the plus point from today. Okay. Yeah, since also the topic that we are going to cover today is not only one. So yeah, so let's start with algebra. Okay, so algebra is a set of comments and rules used as languages in math. Okay, so you communicate formulas, you communicate numbers using algebra. Okay, it is a set of rules that you need to that you need to obey, because if you don't obey those rules, then you are not going to get the correct answer. Okay, correct answer based on what? Based on logic. Okay, I'm going to show you later on. Okay, so here I'm going to show you there. So in algebra, you are learning that numbers can be represented by letters. Okay, so you can represent numbers with letters. Okay, and because you represent number with letters, then there's a rule that can be applied to that. Okay, so for example, p plus p equal 2p, right? 4p minus p equal 3p. P times p equal p squared. Okay, a plus 3a plus c, you cannot add a and c, you can only add a and 3a, so you get 4a plus c. So those are the kind of rules that is aligned with how numbers actually behave. Okay, so if you operate on numbers, this is what actually happened if you operate this with numbers. But with letters, you need to be a little bit careful because your interpretation might be different, might change the result. Okay, if it's in numbers. And also because numbers can be represented by letters, you can substitute letter with numbers. Okay, so for example, this is a set of numbers. A equal to 3, 2 is represented by B, and minus 4 is represented by C. Okay, so A plus 2B plus C, you can substitute the numbers. A with 3, B with 2, so 2 times 2, plus C is minus 4, so minus 4. Okay, so 3 plus 4 minus 4 equal 3. Okay, so that's substitution. All of this you can find in chapter 2. I'm giving you the overview of the chapter. And also there's another rule that involve index number. Okay, bilangan berpangkat. Contohnya a pangkat m dikali a pangkat n. So you can write a with the power of n plus n. Plus n. Division, a with the power of n divided by a with the power of n, a with the power of m minus n. A with the power of n with the power of m with the power of n becomes a with the power of m multiplied by n. Okay, now this is an important part. The fourth point. I want you to highlight this because this is very important. I don't want you to be mistaken by it. because a lot of people does. Okay, so a with the power of 0 becomes 1. A with the power of 1 becomes a. A with the power of minus 1 becomes 1 over a with the power of 1. A with the power of minus 2 becomes a with the power of 1 divided by a with the power of 2. Okay, so I don't want you to get confused. The number increase with the the result increase with the number as the number increases. Okay. Right, yeah, so those are rules. And then here's what I want to okay, yeah, so these are 2 points that I want to emphasize. The first one is rules is basically generalization. So from observation, then you can make some rules. The rules that applies at any time, at any different conditions. Okay, and rules are to be obeyed, because if you don't follow the rules, if you don't obey the rules, you won't get the result that is logical. Okay. Okay. Okay, so earlier I made you a promise that want to show you. So for example, like this is the example. Okay, 3x 3 times x minus y. Okay, let's put it into a numbers. Okay, let's use another number just so you know. So for example, 3 times 7 minus 9. Okay, and 3 times 7 minus 9. Okay, so the original way to do this, you have to do it in the bracket, right? So the bracket 7 minus 9 minus 2, right? So 3 times minus 2 becomes minus 6. That's the logical way to do it, right? And then the other way to do it, the correct way to do it, is to multiply them one by one. So 3 times 7, 21. 3 times minus 9 minus 27. So 21 minus 27 becomes minus 6. So you get the same result. That means it's logical. But some of you might encounter this kind of mistake before, when you only multiply by only one of the elements inside the bracket. So for example, I just multiply 21. 3 times 7, 21 minus 9. For example, 21 minus 9 is 12, right? So as you can see, the result are different. So it's not logical because you don't follow the rules. Okay. Okay. And I think this can be applied in many things. So for example, like language, you cannot use present tense to express something that happened in the past, right? Something like that. Okay. When you say I am playing games right now, that means that currently you are in the middle of a game. Okay. If you say I play games, that means generally you play games. You're a gamer. So there are multiple kind of rules. And then I think one of the important illustration that I would say is like when you order a French fries on McDonald's, but then they are not using potatoes to serve you French fries. For example, they use sweet potato or carrot, for example. It's not going to be enjoyable, right? Because what you expect is different than what is given. So then again, the rules are to be obeyed, basically, because then again, if it's not, then it's not going to be ideal first, but in mathematics it's not going to be logical, and logic is the most important part in mathematics. Okay, yeah, so these are algebra. Okay, so if you take a look at chapter 21, you can see a topic about proportion. Okay, we have I think when you were in seventh grader, we have already discussed this. So there's a couple of variables that have influence towards one another. So for example, like internet speed and total downloads. The more internet speed you have, the more downloads you're going to get. There's a connection between total items and the numbers, the money that you are going to spend. There's a lot of variables that connected to each other, okay, and they are appear to be commanded by some rules, okay. There are some rules that connect those variables so they can influence one another. So that's what you learn in proportion, okay. So to be able to clarify the rules, that's why we learn function, okay. So algebra is being used to make formulas, and then the formulas itself is basically function. And function is going to give you a visual representation of how the relationship between variables looks like, okay. So function to show form of relationship between two variables. Basic form of function is, for example, x is quantities, y is total price. One clothing item costs $15. So the function that you got here is y equal 15 times x, okay. If you buy one clothing item, you are going to pay $15. If you buy two, then you will have to pay $30, and so on and so on and so on. So these are the rules that connect quantities, total items, and total price. Okay, this is what we call function. In chapter 10, you're learning about, okay, function is on chapter 6, by the way, yeah. And chapter 10, you're learning about a linear equation. So linear equation, basically, you are trying to define the function in a visual way. You're trying to represent the function, the formula, in a visual way. So how do you do that? You do that by, you mention the two related variables, which is x and y. X is quantities, y is total price. Then you make a table of values or plot table. You add the number to the x, and then you find the value of y, and then you get a couple of number pairings. Then you can move them into a Cartesian diagram, okay. Or in statistics, okay, yeah, so let me highlight this a little bit, okay. So this, okay, yeah, so that this workflow, okay, so you get numbers, then you make a function out of it. This is what we are learning in statistics, okay. But yeah, generally what you're learning is basically from function you get the numbers, and then the numbers you can transfer it into the Cartesian diagram, okay. But if you got the numbers, you don't have the function, the process that you are going to do to transfer to convert those numbers into a function, a certain formulas, that's what we are doing at statistics, okay. So that's a side part of it, okay. But the theory, you're learning the theory in this chapter as well, yeah. So this is the workflow, okay. So you have functions or formulas or equation, formulas, and then you have got the table of values, okay, which is coordinates, and then you have got the Cartesian diagram, okay. So you can convert one form into the other, okay. So functions into table of values or plot tables or coordinates, this is the process of doing that. What you do is doing the equation. So you pick a random number of x or y, and then you find the counterpart. You try to find pasangannya dari angka tersebut. Taruh x-nya misalnya 1, ya, pasangannya 15. Taruh x-nya 2, pasangannya 30, ya. So that's how you do it, okay? That's equation. And then from table of values, if you want to find the functions, there are two formulas you can use. So you need two coordinates, basically. Y minus y1 divided by y2 minus y1 equal x minus x1 divided by x2 minus x1. Or you can use this, find the gradient first, and then find the function using y minus y1 equal m gradient multiplied by x minus x1. Okay, so that's the connection between function and table of values. They can convert into one another. Okay, so from table of values we can make what we call as Cartesian diagram. So table of values, you get 1 and 15, 2 and 30, 3 and 45, 5 and 75. You can make a Cartesian diagram. The x is the one that is horizontal. If it's plus, then plus to move to the right. If it's minus, then move minus to the left. Y is the vertical numbers. So plus is upwards and then minus is downwards. Yeah, so this is the conclusion of algebra function, and then you have a little bit of equation there. Okay, and basically in equation itu yang kayak kalau misalnya ada persamaan terus habis itu angkanya dipindah-pindah, tadinya plus di kanan dipindahin ke kiri jadi minus gitu ya. Yang tadinya dikali dipindahin ke kiri jadi bagi, yang dari kiri misalnya dibagi dipindahin ke kanan jadi kali. Or you can use neutralization, whatever you want. Okay, ya jadi kayak yang 2x plus 3 equal 9, terus habis itu supaya neutral you minus 3 from both sides, so 2x plus 3 minus 3 equal 9 minus 3, so 2x 3 minus 3 cancelled out each other, 9 minus 3 is 6, and then divided by 2, 2x divided by 2x, 6 divided by 2, 3, so that's equation. Okay, right, yeah. And then after that, you can put them in the Cartesian diagram. In the Cartesian diagram, for example, 2 and 30, and then 3 and 45. And then from that, you can drag a line, passes through those coordinates. Wait, too much. Okay, yeah. So this is y equal 15x, for example. Okay, yeah. Right, yeah, so those are the summary of algebra, function and equation, and then Cartesian diagram as well. Okay, if you have any question you can put them in the chat box.